Hello and welcome, you crazy people. My name is Jay, and there's not that much to say about this, but it's so intriguing. I just wanted to very quickly talk about it, and that is that Warhammer 40,000 is coming to Magic the Gathering. And yeah, I don't really play either games, so this is interesting, but it's just, I don't know, it feels like it's completely out of left field that I just wanted to share my thoughts and see what you guys think about it, because yeah, that like literally there's nothing else really to say to that other than what it said. It's coming to the number one fantasy game. The answer is they're going to basically do it. It looks like it's going to be like I don't really know what they call them, a pack. I don't really know what they are, but it's going to be a set on Magic the Gathering, like whatever they'll do, specific themed ones, like I don't know, Times Spiral, whatever the hell that is. But yeah, they're going to do a 40k set of it, which it's not something I would ever have put together as even conceptually, but that is what they're doing. And it makes, to some degree, it makes sense, right? The people who play Magic the Gathering, several of them might play 40k or vice versa. They're all sort of tabletop games, aren't they? So I suspect there is a relatively high crossover without necessarily being direct competitors in that sense. So fair enough, like cool. Anything that like it's just additions. Now I'm not 100% sure how, but if you're a 40k player, it doesn't matter. It's not really affecting your game. If you're a Magic the Gathering player, it possibly is affecting your game. I don't really know, because they do like ban lists and stuff like that. I don't know if you'd be able to rock up at a tournament. Now, one thing I would say is Magic the Gathering, #1 fantasy card game. I mean, it's sort of like sci-fi fantasy, I get that, but it's not really fantasy, is it? Like, I don't know, for me, fantasy is like high elves and magic and stuff. I wouldn't necessarily put 40k as it, but you know, it is what it is. There's no skin off my back kind of thing. So on an interesting note for me though, we have the fact that, as far as I know, Magic the Gathering is owned by Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast also own D&D, basically. I say own, I think it's all Hasbro. I think Hasbro might actually own the whole thing, but they publish it anyway. And I think they obviously publish D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Now, the reason that's vaguely interesting, for me, Dungeons and Dragons is actually more of a competitor than D&D. Now, I know that's... Dungeons and Dragons is more of a competitor than Magic the Gathering to 40k. But not really, because role-playing games don't really fill the same niche. But I don't know, it feels like the popularity of D&D 40k, I don't know, didn't feel like it was necessarily riding that, you know, Stranger Things wave. But they're obviously not a direct competitor. Now, I don't really know if they own any kind of war game. I believe they might be like D&D Skirmish or something like that, but they're obviously not bothered about it. They don't worry about helping each other. And yeah, it's just so out of left field that I wanted to talk about it. I don't think we would ever see like a D&D in the 40. I mean, we already have like role-playing games in different universes. I don't see Wizards of the Coast making like a 40k Dungeons and Dragons RPG. There already is some, I believe. I think I saw Mini Wargaming yonks ago playing one, I think. So I don't think this partnership will necessarily lead to anything else, but it does lead to a bigger point of, and they even talked about it in partnerships, that they obviously had the Marvel one where they're going to do 40k comic books. That's interesting. They've got those Bandai toys, haven't they, as well? They're like big, are they Funko Pops? I don't really know. There's big action figures and stuff like that. So, and they're also doing the animated show or whatever it is. I'm not 100% sure. It feels like Games Workshop are really taking the IP very seriously at the minute and just trying to branch out into everything. They want the IP, I think, to become bigger. They realise that one way of increasing the sales of their game is actually to get people into that universe, and then maybe they'll think about buying some models, which is not traditionally what you think maybe a wargaming person would be like. You think maybe they'd just be interested in wargaming, and then they'd pick up 40k because it's the biggest, most popular and interesting universe. So the fact that they're branching out like this, I think it's it's good for wargaming as a whole, perhaps. And yeah, well, I don't really have anything else to say on it, so I'm off. And let me know your thoughts. I'm intrigued. Do you play Magic the Gathering? If you play Magic the Gathering, how do you feel? Because if you play 40k, there's no reason to care, is there? You don't have to bother. But if you play Magic the Gathering, do let me know how you feel about that. I am sort of intrigued. Have a most beautiful day. Goodbye.